Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadhike. Sharanitram Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 22nd of January 2025. I want to welcome everyone to Morning Satsang, and we are continuing our exploration of the great mystery of consciousness. You know, hold on one second here. Okay, so we have been examining the connection between Mahamaya and Akshara Brahma. This is a very relevant subject. And again, the reason behind this is because these are concepts that have come about over thousands of years. You know, these are not just ideas that just came about like within a few hundred years. This is so ancient that it has been around for literally thousands and thousands of years. You know, the concept of Mahamaya is so fantastic. It is so extraordinary. We cannot imagine. And as I was mentioning yesterday, the various seed mantras, Bij Mantratmak Sadhana. For example, Aim, Aim Bij Mantra, Ayeem. The Aim Bij Mantra is the Mahasaraswati Bij Mantra. Again, it's a question, how was this even discovered? Where did this come from? Somebody just made it up? No, it's not like that at all. And this is Tantra Sadhana. People are like scared of Tantra Sadhana and say, wake up, guys. It's not anything like that. It has to do with your intention. It's like people are scared of a nuclear weapon. You know, obviously nuclear weapon is scary, right? But nuclear energy is just energy. It's just used in the particular way to harm people. Now, even with these Shakti mantras, yes, they could be used in a negative way. It is possible. People have done that. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. In the time of Bhagavan Swaminarayan, there was a great Devi Upasak, and his name was Magni Ram. Devi Valo Magni Ram. This is a very interesting story. He was a worshipper, I think probably of Mahakali, you know, one of the fierce forms of the goddess. And he was a real devotee. I mean, he was not an ordinary sadhak. He really wanted to, you know, realize Bhagavan, right? That was the idea. So he started off this way. He started doing this Shakti Upasana, Magni Ram. And he progressed. And eventually, the goddess began to appear to him, because that's what will happen at some point. This life, next life, at some point it'll happen that the Devi actually will appear to you. You know, it's pretty amazing actually. It has not happened to me like that, by the way, if somebody's curious. You know, hamare to bas seva hi karni hai. You know, she doesn't want to appear like that because we will not be able to think of anything else if that happens. So that is the divine will. But there are in many situations, at some point she does appear. And then because she knows the heart of the bhakta, Shakti Upasana mein kya hai? Whatever is in your heart is going to be expressed. Somewhere in that sadhak, there was some deficiency in purification. Sadhuta mein deficiency. Sadhuta ma khami in Gujarati we would say. And as a result of that, he had some worldly desires, some desires, worldly desires. So because of that, a lot of siddhis came. Siddhi to aise hi aati hai for higher level sadhaks. But then he got involved in those siddhis, you know, and had hundreds and hundreds of shishyas, disciples. Bahut vaibhav, he became a big guru. So many things like this. And he went off track. Ahankar aa gaya isme se. This is the danger in Shakti Upasana. It's not that you shouldn't do Shakti Upasana, but people don't know what they're doing. The sadhuta has to be there, santatva, 100% ahankar shunya, no ego in this. Only like Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Did he have any ego, ahankar? No, bilkul nahi. Pure. That is the real spirituality. Otherwise, you wind up in all these siddhis, and then this happened to him in this situation. Then someone said, "Oh, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, वो बहुत बड़े महात्मा है, जीवन मुक्त है, ऐसे like you should go and see him and all that." And he was like, going with ahankar. I don't remember the exact details of how they met, but eventually he was like, he was so ahankari that he was like saying, "Ah, ye kaun?" He thought he was everything. Then the goddess appeared in front of him. He said, "What you are doing? You do know who he is? ये तो भगवान है, ये तो पुरुषोत्तम भगवान है, and और वो आप कर रहे हैं क्या? What you are doing? You sent out to realize God. I'm in front of you. I'm giving you blessings. I know what is in your heart, but you have to progress further. ये सब क्या कर रहे हो?" And then it struck him, that the Devi said this actual historical prasang hai. So then he went to Maharaj, and then he realized कि ये तो इस in human form भगवान वो जो पुरुषोत्तम भगवान है वो स्वयं आए. This is like a recognition through the goddess. She led him basically. She said that you are deficient inside. You have all these siddhis, बहुत साधना की है, बहुत कुछ इसका फल मिलता है. You get the fruit. Remember, I mentioned it before also. You do sadhana, you get the fruit of the sadhana. And the thing about the Shakti Upasana, the fruit can be of 4 types. Satvik, Rajsik, Tamsik, and Nirgun. All 4 types. Can you imagine this? But that's a fact, because that's the play of Prakriti. But if it's done with the ahankar bhav, Rajsik, Tamsik, harmful, it doesn't really ultimately harm anybody, but it temporarily it can, so isko jo even in the ancient times, the rishis used to give shrap dete the. You may have seen inside this Ramayana, Mahabharata and all that. That's what happened in the Bhagavatam also. Parikshit Raja was given a shrap by one of the rishis because they're so powerful. They become vachan siddh. वचन सिद्धि, वाक सिद्धि, इसको एक सिद्धि के ऐसे बहुत सिद्धि है. हनुमान चालीसा में नहीं आता अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता. अष्ट सिद्धि are only, those are the major ones that are listed. There's 8 minor siddhis, 8 major siddhis. Actually, there are thousands of siddhis. बहुत सिद्धि है. इतनी सिद्धि है, don't ask, that is how it is described. अनंत प्रकार की सिद्धि है. And so that comes to at some stage it comes. So in the Rishi Parampara, there's a lot of history of this. Even Gautam Rishi turned his wife Ahilya into the stone. Remember that entire thing inside the Ramayana. But usually what happens almost every time, because they are rishis, they are still connected to Paramatma. And Siddhi Narayan, भगवान नारायण के अंग में सब सिद्धि है. अभी वो थोड़ी आध्यात्मिक बात है. Some other time we'll talk about that. वो कहाँ से आती है? They come from the body of Narayana. But that's another subject altogether. The point is that even if they give the shrap, तो उस श्राप में भी blessing है. ये भी एक interesting point है. Because वो नारायण की सिद्धि है. The Bhagwan doesn't ever hurt anybody, but there's some bigger plan behind it. We can look at it that way. That's a higher way to look at it, and that's not wrong also. That is okay. But from where we are, ये सब किसी to bring negative thinking, negative words, कभी भी नहीं बोलना. Not under any circumstances. This is not spirituality. This is not. It cannot lead to God realization. It can wind up harming somebody even. It can happen if you start doing lot of mantra sadhana, particularly Shiv Shakti ke jo mantra hai. Aap karenge. At some point, if we don't have enough purification, we become angry towards somebody, then that will affect that person. You have to be very careful. ये सब Shakti की उपासना खास इसमें तो इसमें तो इसको we have to be very, very cautious with that. And not only that, you have to have the right guru for that. The guru should not have any swarth. Guru should be purified. Guru should be a siddha. Guru should be having prasannata of Devi. Guru should not want anything from anybody. इसमें अहंकार का कोई स्थान नहीं है, इसमें कोई विषय वासना का कोई स्थान नहीं. एंड वंस दोस थिंग्स कम इनसाइड, द देवी की ऐसी लीला है, कृपा है. शी सेज, यू वांट दोस थिंग्स, आई एम गोइंग टू शो देम टू यू. शी विल नॉट प्रिवेंट यू, शी विल शो इट. दैट्स व्हाट हैपेंड इन दिस केस ऑफ दिस Magni Ram. Devi Valo Magni Ram. That's the very famous person in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya. And then he realized his mistake. The goddess appeared to him several times. She said, what you are doing, you're on the wrong track here, my friend. Siddhi bahut aage, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of disciples, and so many sab vaibhav. People get caught up in these things. Bade, huge organizations develop around them because they're siddhas. But they can be lost if they don't have. That's good, do it. As a seva, it's okay. But there's a lot of danger in that. Even, I'll give you an example. Even the idea that I am above somebody else, if that thought even comes, you're failed immediately. Totally. Adhyatma ka nash ho gaya is ek vichar mein. You could be doing 100 years of sadhana, and if that person says, I am here and 10,000 people are underneath me. Aisa hua hai. And those so-called gurus, they degrade back into the ant world, into the bacterial, literally into this insect life. That's what happens with this. Itna danger hai adhyatma mein. Adhyatma mein danger nahi hai, ahankar mein danger hai. Manushya ka ahankar kya, where it takes one. Look at all these politicians. Forget about their names. That's what they're running after. Power, position, not everybody. But those who are doing that, at some point they'll wind up in the insect world. That's their destination. There is a story behind this in the Upanishad also. That so many insects, so many ants were at the feet of a great enlightened Brahmic saint in the Upanishad. It's a story in one of the, I have to look it up and see which one it is exactly. And the Shishyas are saying, Guruji, why are you looking at these ants? He said, do you know who they are? In the past lives, they were the Indra Devata. Indra Devata has degraded into this ant world because of ahankar, because of vasanas, because of bhog, because of this, because of that. Wo sab Indra the. Even the Indras, so many Indras can degrade. If they don't maintain their spirituality, they will degrade into this mess. The Manusha ki kya prashna hai? Think about this is the real adhyatma. It is so this ye jo manushya mein jo manushya, any human, any being, but in our case manushya, ahankar, it can take one anywhere to any level. There's no end. Even among sadhus and sannyasis and all that, usme bhi कौन ऊपर है कौन नीचे है कौन ये सब बकवास बात है. It has nothing to do with spirituality. Some of them are interested in all those titles. They have these massive titles. 1008 Shri the XYZ, massive titles, and they're sitting on some big gaddis. Take those gaddis and burn them in the fireplace. They have nothing to do with spirituality. There's no place anywhere in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam, in any place where it is said somebody should be sitting on some gadi somewhere and somebody should be sitting below. This is a completely wrong and unethical thing to do. It has nothing to do with spirituality. This is why J. Krishnamurti threw all this thing out. And the reason behind that, we have to be careful. As a respect, it's one thing. But people are looking for those positions. People have been killed in temples and in other places, religious organizations. They have been killed because of positions. There have been lawsuits because of positions. This is Adhyatma. These people are all lost. Anybody doing all those things, they are totally lost. Not only partially lost, 100% lost. Adhyatma साथ, भगवान के साथ कोई connection ही नहीं रहा. Lawsuits are there and wanting to hurt somebody else to progress somewhere and wanting to, and even the feeling that I am above somebody. Those are not real gurus. They are very, very much lost people. We don't want to take anybody's fault. We want to take everybody's good qualities. But Adhyatma ye hai. Upanishad doesn't mean somebody sitting here and somebody sitting below you. Upanishad means sit at the enlightened, at the feet of the enlightened, go near the enlightened being, and then the enlightened being gives the Mahavakya, you are that. Tattvamasi. Isme kya? There's no hierarchy. None at all. Anywhere, anybody, maybe functionally there's a hierarchy, but there's internally, I want to be something. तुलसीदास जी कहते हैं कनक तजो कामिनी तजो तजो धातु को संग तुलसी लघु भोजन करे जीवे मान के रंग. So anyway, let me finish that story of Magni Ram. Very interesting. So he went to Maharaj, Shri Ji Maharaj. Maharaj वो तो उनकी स्थिति में है और उनको कहते हैं कि now goddess has appeared in front of you. She's told you. And he realized, his mind went back to his original point. Before he started the sadhana, why he started the spiritual practices was to realize Bhagavan. So then the ahankar went away of all that thing. And then Shriji Maharaj, Swaminarayan Bhagavan, unko diksha dete hai. He becomes a sadhu actually of Maharaj. At that time, there were some 3,000 plus saints. And this is when Maharaj said, you are on the wrong track. The goddess has, the Devi has said also. So he realized this. And he says, I'm at your feet. What do you want? What should I be doing? He says, I'll give you Diksha. You're already very evolved. And I will name you Advaitananda. That was his name. Advaitananda Swami. He became a big saint. But you know what Maharaj said to him? Because of this ahankar that you have experienced, you know what you have to do? You have to do seva of all the devotees. So he started doing just the very basic level seva. Cleaning the temples and cleaning the yard and doing this. Just very, what we would consider like really simple and very just like menial, quote, menial seva. Although there's no such thing as menial seva. And there's a whole lot of history behind that. And because of the ahankar, to make sure no more ahankar is left, that the bhakta is to consider other devotees as beyond oneself, all of them. That is how the ahankar goes away. That the ahankar of a sadhak, of a bhakta, is dissolved when the bhakta, the sadhak, absolutely feels that I am taking the dust of all the devotees on my forehead. And he got into that state of mind eventually. And then he was enlightened. But you see, this is actual history. How amazing this is. Kitni dangerous baat hai ye ahankar. You don't know when it will creep up, how it will creep up. I know we're at 8:01. Just make one more point and we'll close. Shakti upasana aap kar sakte ho. We can do it. Do the beats. There's 7 bij mantras. It's fine. What is the intention? If you want something, it can be sattvic intention. You want good things for the family, for protection, this and that. Protection, you get all that. No doubt about that. But there should never be an intention of ahankar that I'm beyond somebody. I want to hurt somebody or harm somebody or this kind of thing. There are people who do this. The Bhairav ji ki upasana karte. Kal Bhairav ki upasana karte. Kisi ko hurt karne ke liye. Can you imagine this? Kitna agnyan hai ye sab. Ke Bhagwan, and see that the fact of the matter, because Shiv Shakti have created the entire Brahmand, the 3 gunas are there. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. And unka aisa hi tattva hai. आप किस भाव से उपासना करते? Eventually you wind up in the nirgun because they take you to the Brahman eventually. But one has to be very careful. इसीलिए sadhuta is very difficult in life. बहुत कुछ मिल सकता है. People can do intense sadhanas also. Not that they're doing that really, but you can do it. Maybe even get these siddhis and all that. It doesn't mean anything without saintliness. Real sadhuta. इसमें कोई अहंकार नहीं. Even the story of Vishwamitra and that rishi, the rishi that he was fighting against before he became Vishwamitra. He was doing sadhana out of that Vishwarath Raja. The whole series is on YouTube, in fact. You can watch the Vishwamitra series sometimes, and he was doing sadhana out of ahankar, and he even realized the Gayatri mantra, but he couldn't let go of the ahankar. He had to eventually let go of the ahankar to become a Brahma Rishi. Vishishta Muni, who was the guru of Ramchandra Bhagavan, he was fighting against him, and Vishishta Muni has gone into the Brahman. He knows exactly that this guy is doing sadhana out of ahankar, but still he's progressing. But eventually, ahankar hi chodna hai, yehi nahi chutta. Nirman moha jita sanga dosha. Hu tale hari dukada talaye dasere. Ahankar ka chodna, that is the topmost thing. There's nothing beyond that. And it is the most elusive phenomena. Seva koi karta hai, lot of seva, iska bhi ahankar aata hai. I'm doing a lot of, 10 people, 15 people are saying, you're doing a lot of seva. That's ahankar comes in the back door. Shriji Maharaj Vachanamrut mein aisi baat likhi hai, it's a mind-blowing thing. You can realize the Brahman and come back into the body, even with that realization, and still, I have realized the Brahman. The ahankar comes there also. Can you imagine this? What an unbelievable thing. How can there be any ahankar? There's no ahankar in the Brahman, inside the Brahmic state. Of course not. But when we're back in the body, that there's that differentiation. That I've realized something extraordinary. Yes, there's not like our kind of ahankar. It's some different kind of, still some aham can be present over there. In Vedas mein iska distinction likha hai between Jivan Muktapadu and Videhi Muktapadu. Very advanced subject, not for our discussion here. That's way beyond even what we're talking about. Leave that aside for now. But anyway, with that, thank you all so much. Aapka sabka aashirwad hai. Let's stop here for now. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Om Trambakam Yajame Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Om Durga Durga Rakshini Tata Swaha Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu Om Hrim Swaha.